it's their movie. Somebody lost his engagement ring, poor guy, so if you see a ring on the floor, please let me see. Anyway, thank you for coming. Now there's Q&A, so please, Sir Daniel, Randy, Jordan, Angel, Lissy. Where's Lissy? Oh, hi, Lissy. So Lissy will be moderating. The floor is yours. I'm sure it will be very interesting because if Daniel knows how to do not only sculpture and art, he knows how to talk. So, here. Good night and thank you. No, and I see you tomorrow night.
Congratulations on the film. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for sticking around. If somebody has a question, you'll get a chance to ask it. I will start us off. Maybe first, before we could, Angel, could we start with you and Daniel? Because I think it's a crazy story how your working relationship began, and it actually has to do with the Asian World Film Festival.
Well, first, thank you for coming, for staying with us. This production was one of the difficulties in my vision because it's a different film as you see all the time. And when I spoke with Daniel a long time ago about this story, he asked me to share his philosophy with around the world with a lot of people, and then we decided to create a story and bring all these ideas and feelings, Daniel's feelings, to the big screen. So we decided to just make a creation and based off his the love that he has to create each sculpture, each piece of art he has. So I'm very, very proud of all the team that we have in production. Everybody helped to create this beautiful film. So I'm impressed with the film. I was watching it and I said, wow, we did such a beautiful film. And then we went to different locations that I was very impressed. We went to the beach, we went to different places using a lot of contrast on the film. So it was great to see all this. It was unbelievable to watch all this in the big screen. Yeah, so that's why I'm proud of this, and I'm very happy to be part of this production.
Daniel, are we going to be seeing more of you in acting roles now going forward?
I keep telling everybody that I'm an artist first, not an actor. But this, gotta tell you, the movie is actually a form of art. Creating this short film, is a way of expressing my sculptures and paintings, because not everyone in the world is going to be able to see or touch or feel my sculpture. So what I wanted to do is have the world look at it that doesn't have easily accessible to my artwork to feel what I'm trying to convey. It is my philosophy and my life and spiritual religion. Whatever you feel, the movie portrays and how it connects with you is what I want to convey. I want to add on, you said at the beginning that how odd it was that this movie came along and how we met and with the Asian World Film Festival. Angel here didn't bring you the stories. I think everything happens for a reason. Last year, the Asian World Film Festival at the gallery, we unveiled a large sculpture, Celestial Sphere. And if those of you were there last year, you remember it was a spectacular event. And afterward, I'm on Instagram, I see this video, it's like a 30-second clip of the Celestial Sphere, and I was very moved by it. And I don't know the guy, he posted it, and clearly he didn't have the copyright for it, but he posted it anyway. So I texted him, I messaged him on Instagram, says, you know what, this is very intriguing, who are you? So one thing led to another. I liked his work, and that happened to be Angel there, and I decided to have him shoot some of my sculptures, 1-minute video of my sculpture. At that time I was creating a new series called The Timeless Presence. And when I saw his work, he really captured what I want to convey. So then I was initially going to do just a video of this two sculpture that you saw called Creation, my quantum mechanics, Femme and Homme. But he mentioned a little bit that he's connected with a little bit of Hollywood and some people, and I thought, you know what? Let's go move forward and see what I can do. And I even asked George if he wants to be involved, and everything led to one another, and here we are.
Jordan, could you talk about the visual style here? Because it looks very epic. You shot it on 70mm. You have stunning locations, Joshua Tree, Big Sur. So could you talk a little bit about creating that cinematic feel, and why did you want to shoot on 70mm?
I just want to clarify, it was actually shot on digital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just want to set that precedent out there. You know, the original discussions, thank you for having me here, by the way. The original discussions were pretty, I remember this one particular day. It was me, Angel, Daniel, and actually my gaffer, Alex. Alex, are you still? I think Alex might have left. My gaffer, Alex, the four of us were sitting around a table, and we were kind of discussing just the visual language of this film, how we want it to look like. Daniel has such a great vision. If you know him as an artist, he knows exactly what he wants to convey as far as his philosophy goes. And to be completely honest, when I'm sitting at this table, hearing him about his philosophy and what he goes through emotionally and physically when he's creating his art, I turn to Angel and Alex right next to me, I go, I don't know if I can shoot this. I don't know if, you know, because I come from a commercial world. I shoot a lot of bright commercials. My style's I lean more towards the coming of age drama. That's really kind of the style where I come from. And so it was kind of a daunting task for me. I was like, is this something that I think I can do? And we're talking a little bit more, and you know, we asked the question, like, you know, if there's anything any visual reference you can kind of think of as far as like, where do you see, like when you're in your world, when you're in your art, where do you see yourself? And Daniel goes, you know, my favorite movie is The Dark Knight. It has a lot of darkness and shadows and a lot of blue. And for some reason that really spoke to me visually as a language, because one of my directors I admire quite a bit is Christopher Nolan. I love the Dark Knight series. And so we kind of found each other, find our wavelength. That's how we kind of fell in sync with each other in deciding, you know, how we were going to kind of see this. It wasn't going to be like, let's shoot the Dark Knight, but it was going to be, you know, this type of moodiness, this type of darkness. He wanted it to be hauntingly beautiful, was kind of a term that was thrown out there a lot. And you know, I turned to Alex and I go, all right, let's do this thing. So that's kind of like how it came about.
And Randy, could you talk about how you got involved?
Well, I am primarily a gallerist. I've represented Daniel's work forever, as well as a number of other artists. This was an interesting experience for me because film is art. And although, you know, intellectually, I knew that. Watching this come together and seeing how it formed as a piece of art itself was reinforcing to the very idea of the film, which is the film is about the creative process, whether that be sculpture, whether that be film, whether that be parenthood. It's about the nature of that, the way that artists or those who create are compelled to create, and the cyclical nature of it. At the very beginning of the film, we start with a quote that creation begins where destruction ends, because it is a cycle. We can go back to Einstein's law of conservation, which says basically that all the stuff that exists today in the universe has existed since the beginning of the universe and will exist at the end of the universe. Nothing new is ever created or destroyed. It is merely transformed from one form to another. So everything that exists today came about because something before it no longer exists. And that is part Daniel's message, but we're seeing it in the film in a way that I think more people can understand in a very sort of non-passive, interactive way.
We've talked about the themes in the film, but I want to get more into the behind the scenes of it all, and I want to ask about the sculptures, because you actually got them into Joshua Tree, and I mean, I'm sure everybody knows, but not only are they big, but they are massive. They weigh a lot. So was that the most difficult scene to shoot, just getting those sculptures there?
I'll answer that one. The sculpture weighs about probably 2,000 pounds each. And going to Joshua Tree, the locale, was a very bumpy ride. And actually the truck got stuck in the sand, the desert sand, and we didn't get out for about probably an hour later. But I said earlier that this whole process, the movie, is serendipitous, and I gotta tell you some really odd stories about the whole movie. I really feel that this whole entire process and movie came to life was something that's beyond my control. I feel that it is some universe communicating it to make it happen, and hopefully we'll move forward to a feature film with this. But the reason I said that is there's a lot of, people tell you story that like certain movies, there are things that happen during the movie that freaks you out. Well, the short film happened that way. I'll give you like a few examples. One example was, like I said, at the Joshua Tree. We really wanted to do a rain scene at Joshua Tree because that was so significant. You saw at the beginning the raindrop drop on the character's, the artist's face, and we wanted to go to Joshua Tree to show rain. And I talked to the DP and the director, says, how do we get rain there? Because there's no house, nothing around. I mean, literally nothing for miles. So the only way to do it is to rent a huge truck, rent a generator, I mean, everything. And that alone, I know why movies cost $100 million now because of that. So we went there and said, you know what, we'll scrap it, we'll see what happens. So we went there and it delayed, because if the truck didn't get delayed and the wheels didn't get stuck, we would have shot the scene and gone to the next thing. But literally, when the truck got delayed, the cloud starts moving in. And all of a sudden I'm looking at this, and Jordan's like, holy macro, this is like the cloud, and the thunder started. I mean, the sound that you heard and the cloud, all those were real. And all of a sudden, literally, as they were, I'm sitting back and they call me out for makeup, it's like, the rain's coming, the rain's coming. I was like, we literally had 10 minutes, get ready, camera ready, and the rain started to trickle down, and and it didn't rain little, it didn't rain a lot, it rained just perfect for 15 minutes. And literally after 15 minutes after the shot, it was gone. And then we're next scene and we're looking at each other, it's like, how the heck did this happen? We needed rain, and it's like, you can't find props like this because you couldn't pay that. So that was one incident that I thought it was incredible. The other incident was about the clock. At the beginning of the movie, because the clock is an inorganic. And like Randy says, nothing's created or destroyed. So in order for creation to be created, destruction had to be destroyed. And here we're transforming from one inanimate object to another. So we needed a clock. And I'm thinking to myself, where am I gonna find a grandfather clock that's perfect? And it's like, and I'm thinking, what, we're not gonna do that, we just find a little clock. One day I woke up, and actually it was like a few days before the shoot of the Foundry with the clock, and I literally said, there's something that made me driven to go to this swap meet that I haven't been for like 10 years. And even then I went there, there's nothing there, so I went there, and literally when I walk in, it's like Kieu swap meet, my eyes just focused right on this one location, walk over there, and there was two grandfather clock. I was actually only looking for one, but the salesperson kept saying, you gotta buy two, it's a set, it's a set. In my mind I'm thinking, I only need one for this film. And then I message and I FaceTime Angel, and all of a sudden, the epiphany came on. It's like the male and the female. And all of a sudden, that was it. And that was, there's a lot of incidents like this in this film that just, in a way, for me, it's like divine intervention, that it's like, it's not what I want, it's what I need for this movie to make it possible. And when this all said and done, frame by frame, second by second, this frame was what I needed, and what we needed, not what we want.
Jordan, you wanted to add something?
Oh no, I was just going to contribute to the whole rain fiasco, because yeah, there was, it was a very short day. We you know, we drove up there. It was about 4.5 hours to get there, at least for some of us, and then obviously back, so it was kind of short shoot day. And yeah, just to add to Daniel, it was sunny. There was no cloud in the sky, and then all of a sudden, literally, the whole truck fiasco with it getting surfboarded onto the sand over there, I was like, oh no. And we're fighting the sun, and then all of a sudden, like as we get the statues in place, yeah, we just start hearing thunder out in the distance. And that's, yeah, when I heard Daniel go, Jordan! Like, I couldn't even see him. I just heard him yell, Jordan, we have to shoot. The clouds are coming, there's rain coming.
Because from a distance, we saw this cloud with like a pillar of rain. And we figure, you know, this is a vast desert. There's no way it's gonna go our way. And I'm thinking it hasn't been raining here because I checked the weather for months. And all of a sudden, this rain pillar started moving our way, and I yelled at him and says, get the camera ready. And it was the freakiest thing. It's almost like it knew we needed it, and it just arrived and left in 15 minutes.
Let's take a question from the audience. Does anybody want to ask something?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. At the very back there.
I know you had the Dark Matter back in July. Now, did Dark Matter come first, or does film come first?
So the question is about, did Dark Matter come first, or this film comes first?
My series of Dark Matter is about quantum mechanics, Om and Fem. That actually was an epiphany about a year ago. I wanted to make this film about that. Initially, I said we were going to make a video, just an art video so that I can share with my art patrons. And that video became reality as a short film, and now the short film is now potentially evolving into a feature film. So, like I said, everything happened like serendipitously. It's almost like this was meant to be for the world to see it, a movie that is no dialects, it's just pure visual and music, so they can feel it. You know, as you can understand, it's like making a movie 20 minutes without dialogue is just so difficult because all the expression and emotion has to be there. But Dark Matter actually was already there, aside with my other thesis. And this movie is just one part of that whole entire thesis. So hopefully later on this could be a series, and you never know, about this whole concept of quantum mechanics of my philosophy.
And just to contribute so that the audience understands how quickly this man moves, the exhibition that our question was about was the Dark Matter exhibition that happened a Saturday night. Sunday lunch, Angel, Daniel, and our executive producer, Chinh, started talking about this movie.
This movie was shot in 8 days, just to let you know that.
There was more questions. Go ahead at the back there in the white shirt. I believe there was a question. Right there? No?
Yes.
Yes, let's go there.
Alan.
Yes,
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for showing the creation. That's very creative. I really enjoy the short videos on creation. So let me ask you one question. Who was the original idea that when you break the grandfather's clock to bring the clock, which is represent the heart, into the angel, correct? And then the angel became the human. So whose idea was that to...
So the question is about whose idea was it that the heart of the clock that goes into the sculpture later turns into a human?
The whole concept philosophy here is my vision. Thanks to Jordan, Angel, they brought it to what I envision of this, and it's not easy to bring it to life in 20 minutes with no dialogue. But what I wanted to do was to show that even an inanimate object can have sentient, can have, most movies you say that you build character development on that character. I told Jordan and Angel, I want you to feel there's a connection of this clock as if it was alive. Because right before I destroy it, there's tears in my eyes, and actually I felt it. So I destroyed it in order to take it, and it's almost like a Frankenstein moment, and then put it into something that is also inanimate, but it has, what's the terminology you call it, Randy, when it has a form figure? Anthropomorphic. Say that.
Anthropomorphic.
Right. Even though it has a figure, it still has no life. But then that becomes life. So again, my philosophy is about all of us in this life, in this world. It's a very Buddhist Zen kind of feels that we are reincarnate one way or the other. One day, one moment, 1 century, we are a bee. The next one, we are a human. The next one, we may be a clock. But all that cycles around, and that's what this existential surrealism is about in this movie. And if you think closely, this movie, clip by clip, there's a lot of symbolism. I wanted to create something that students, college, later on, will look at it and analyze it, every clip, because every single second in this, I wanted to have symbolism and deep, profound meanings of why everything was done in the movie.
Did we have more questions from the audience? Sorry, there's a light. The same person wants to ask a question again,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
This question is for Director Angel. So with the short completed and you plan to do the features, can you give us a little bit hints on the synopsis of what the story will be for the feature?
So the question is about the short is done, but there's ideas to do a feature, and do you have a synopsis or something for that already, Angel?
Well, right now we don't have 100% idea, but we have a good connection or kind of like a bridge to go to the second part, which is going to be obviously using Daniel's philosophy. We have a few series bringing to the second part. He's creating time in the second film. We are trying to just choose what kind of series of his sculptures we're going to use, but definitely we're going to have to just discuss about that more deeply sooner. Next year we are planning to just start with this production. If everything goes fine, we are going to have a couple of meetings sooner to just realize, to see when we can start with this. But the idea is that Daniel is creating life through the sculptures, okay? So now we're going to have to just keep creating something else, right?
Thank you.
Jordan, I'm curious, from the camera perspective, was there one scene that was especially difficult to film here?
I think about that for a second.
I mean, it depends how long you're gonna think.
No, I won't take too long. Any particular scene that was difficult to shoot? You know, it was the resurrection scene at the end as the statue or sculpture was going up. That one was particularly, and we actually shot that once and looked at it and we're like, it's horrible. And we went and reshot it again, just because we knew that it was such an important scene to capture. And I think we just dedicated this a whole day to just shooting. I think it was like 5 or 6 shots, and just to make sure that we can get those all perfect, because it is the kind of the Frankenstein moment of the whole ordeal, right? Daniel is putting together the final pieces of his masterpiece, and so that one was quite challenging because we wanted to make sure that it felt like that we got that wow factor in it.
Daniel, I'm curious, in the film, the creator, as if says goodbye before kind of leaving these creations behind to have their own existence. You as an artist, are there ever moments where you find it difficult to leave your art behind?
Absolutely. My art is my children. So when somebody collects the work, I feel like I'm putting in good hands, and hopefully later on, they will share with the world as a child grows up to make a difference in the world. In that particular scene, as you notice, going from wearing white all the way to black, that particular scene, I discussed it with Angel and Jordan. I said, this is a really significant scene. You can't cut it too short because it's a moment of, I want to let go, but I don't want to leave. But at the same time, I'm wearing all black. It's like going to a funeral. I'm leaving something behind, but yet they are not dead, but they are gone. And it's in essence gone forever. At least not seeing them again, so that's why I had to walk backward, because I want to say goodbye, but I cannot say goodbye. It's a funeral, but hopefully I'll see them again one day. So that was like I said, every single scene is very poignant, very profound. Even the touching of the hands is a metaphor of the hand of the painting by Michelangelo. So I put a lot of reference of not just religion, spirituality, philosophy, you name it. I put it in here to give it a lot of symbolism.
Do we have a last question from the audience? Yes, all the way at the back there.
So
So the question is about these fantastical characters we see throughout as the creator is being inspired and creating.
That's a great question. Initially, Angel thought they were muses, because as an artist, I don't use models in my creation of both painting or sculpture, so they all arise from my imagination and my dreams. So in this short film, they come in my dreams, so to speak. And why are they looking this way, more mythological and with wings? Because they're, what is it, the seraph? What's it called? Seraphim, yes. Because they are unearthly. And what they are is they're bringing me epiphany. It's like a light bulb comes on. And they're my muse, so to speak, but at the same time, they are part of my universe where I came from, or this character comes from, or the subject, or the artist, that continuously bombards in the mind, that helps that artist create. It's almost like when you see the hand touch the clay, it morphs itself, but there's no modeling around, but yet he closes his eyes and this seraphims come in play. That's where the idea and the epiphany comes in to the concept. And where the other dancers come in, the same thing is that all these muses bring it to life.
Anything you guys want to add before we wrap? Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, and thank you.